Hello, this is Burke Lyle here, and welcome to the Atlanta and Around the Majors baseball show. So I just want to talk about what happened in Game 5 of the World Series. And by the way, the Astros just one win away from winning the World Series for the second time in 6 years now. Remember, in 2019, they were also one win away from winning the World Series until they lost to the Nationals in Game 6 and Game 7 as well. A year after losing to Atlanta in 6 games. So once again, for the third time in 4 years, Game 6 and Game 7, if there is a Game 7, will be in Houston. Since in 2019 we had a Game 6 last year and 7. Last year we had a Game 6. This year we have a Game 6 between Houston and Philly, which for the Phillies, they scored 7 runs in Game 5, hit those home runs off of, McCullers really struggled. They hit 5 home runs. Harper, Hoskins, Bohm, Schwarber, and Marsh. And then a no-hitter, Christian Javier, Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, and Ryan Presley. They combined for that no-hitter. And then last night, first really close game since Game 1, it was Verlander, who pitched well, but also got into trouble. Pitched well enough, I'd say. And then against Noah Syndergaard and kind of the Phillies bullpen. So let's kind of run through the game, what happened. So Altuve leadoff double and then error by Marsh. Could not pick the ball up, so he goes to third. Jeremy Pena, hard single, right up the middle, 1-0. And then Pena's up, it's 3-2. Really opportunity to really cash in. Except now you have the strike him out, throw him out double play on a strikeout, and then he strikes out Bregman on 3 pitches. Verlander struggling October, especially the World Series before. Yet to win a World Series game. His first World Series start came in 2006 against the Tigers. Tigers-Giants, and then the Astros again. Astros-Dodgers. Astros-Nationals, and here he is once again. And second pitch, Schwarber, it's a home run, lead off to right. And again, you think about it. One night after being no-hit, first batter, there goes the no-hitter. Kyle Schwarber hits the home run, and it's 1-1. Harper 2-out walk. Verlander to throw 20 pitches. That was a trend that happened. Kyle Tucker chased a high fastball from Syndergaard, kind of just check swing, didn't really have much of anything. And then pitching well, also striking out Hensley as well, David Hensley. And then Verlander, this is an interesting inning. So 3 pitches, 2 outs. But then Segura single, Marsh walk. First pitch curveball for a strike to Schwarber, walks on a 3-1 curveball. Again, maybe trying to stay away from that fastball after what happened the last at-bat. Hoskins, bases loaded. 4 sliders, strikes him out with a bases loaded. And it's 1-1. Again, Hoskins finds a way to come through, hits a single up the middle. It could be 3-2 Phillies just like that. I mean, that was an opportunity against Verlander. Syndergaard, 9 straight batters after Altuve and Pena reached. He was pitching very well. Harper walked, or Verlander walks Harper, 6 pitches, all fastballs. I think last night, all that Harper saw was fastballs. And then Bryson Stott, it's a fly ball to Tucker for the 3rd out of the inning. Runners left on 1st and 2nd. And then here's the turning point of the game. Jeremy Pena, who has played so well this October, hitting home runs, coming through, playing defense. It's a home run on a curveball, and it's 2-1 Phillies. Syndergaard's out of the game. Connor Brogdon actually pitched well. Struck out Alvarez, Bregman double. Tucker Gurriel strike out. I think that might have been Gurriel's first strikeout of the playoffs. And then Verlander finally efficient, 1, 2, 3, 4th. I guess he struck out Marsh on the fastball and then threw all breaking balls to Schwarber on a curveball. 5th inning, David Hensley strikes out on a changeup. Maldonado strikes out on a changeup as well. Another 1, 2, 3 inning for Connor Brogdon, really pitching well. And in the 5th inning, Verlander really had to work hard. 25 pitches. 10 pitch at bat to get Castellanos out for the 3rd out. And yeah, he did strike out Hoskins and Real Muto, back-to-back strikeouts, but he really had to work hard that inning. And that was a trend for Verlander throughout the night, having to work hard. 6th inning, Jose Alvarado in, kind of again, not the first time he's appeared in the middle innings. We'll see Alvarez, eventually Tucker. 5 batters, including Alvarez and Tucker, leads off with a single. Altuve leadoff single. Scoreless inning, Hector Neris in for the 6th. 3 batters, Bohm, Scott Segura. Leadoff single to Bohm, retired the next 2 batters. Brian Abreu to Brandon Marsh. and Abreu hits Marsh, but then he gets Schwarber ground out to Altuve. Sir Anthony Dominguez in the 7th with the broadcast mentioned that surprising me. I thought would come in maybe in the 8th. So anyways, Gurriel on 3rd after a leadoff double, but he was thrown out on a ground ball and actually got hurt at leave the game. I think Hoskins ended up kneeing to the head. From what I remember, I think it was a 5, third baseman, catcher, I think shortstop, first baseman. So interesting scoring. So a little bit complicated to score there. So he got out, had to leave the game. And then Brian Abreu had to face the heart of the order. Hoskins, Realmuto, Harper retires all 3. So in the 8th inning, Dominguez, first 3 batters in order, heart of the order. Altuve advances to 3rd on a hit-and-run single from Jeremy Pena. That's it for Dominguez. Robertson faces Alvarez, and Alvarez drives an Altuve on a fielder's choice. Hoskins could not make that clean play. Think about Rhys Hoskins being in the middle of the action. What if Hoskins makes that play, throws out Altuve? What if he finds a way against Verlander earlier in the game with the bases loaded? I mean, just a couple plays might have made the difference there. And then next after that, Robertson strikes out Mancini with runners in scoring position. Mancini would later be a hero. Castellanos walks the lead off. This is Rafael Montero. Then Stott walks on 4 pitches. Segura drives in Castellanos. It's 3-2's the lead. Stott's at 3rd. Montero out of the game. Ryan Presley coming in, facing Brandon Marsh. 5-out save. Strikes out Marsh on 3 pitches with runners on the corners. Now we'll face Schwarber. And Schwarber, it's a very hard hit ball to Mancini at first. But that is the 3rd out of the inning, as Mancini was basically playing at first base, guarding the line. If he was standing further back, would have been an easier play, maybe. But still, made the play that he needed to. Definitely prevented the game from being tied right there. And again, if Mancini doesn't make that play, then again, that's another play where the Phillies could have potentially tied the game or had the lead. So 9th inning, Eflin pitched that inning okay. Hoskins, Realmuto, Harper. Hoskins strikes out, and then Chas McCormick makes a jumping catch at the wall. Great catch there, which again, Realmuto. If that ball drops, that's a double or a triple, and you have Bryce Harper up and Castellanos, and the game could very well be tied. I mean, again, plays like that. Also, if that ball's hit a little bit further, it's out. So Astros really making defensive plays, really getting those key outs that they needed. And again, this series could go either way. Okay? Phillies win game 1, right? Astros should have won that game. Is it possible that Houston is world champions by now? Sure. Since, by the way, game 1 could have gone either way. Game 2, that was Houston's game. Game 3, Phillies game. Game 4, that was Houston's game. Game 5 could have gone either way. So, yeah, it is possible the Phillies could have a 3-2 lead going back to Houston. Sure. It is possible Houston could have won the series. Sure. It's just the way that series is. So, really, 2 games that could have gone either way. Game 1 and Game 5, definitely the most closest games. So with Game 6 coming up right now, that will be tomorrow night. In Houston, it will be Wheeler and Valdez, just checking to make sure. Game 7, TBD. So Wheeler and Valdez game rematch again. Based off what you saw earlier, I would say advantage Houston. And by the way, let's take a look at the series numbers now. As we're trying to get them in order. So Altuve, 7 for 22. He could be a candidate for Series MVP. If he breaks out in Game 6, has a big game, he could be Series MVP. Pena, look the way he's playing right now. 381 in the series, hit a home run last night. Drove an Altuve and hit at that home run and got another hit. His defense. Jeremy Pena right now could be favorite for Series MVP. Either him or Altuve. If Pena does do it, think about Jeremy Pena taking over for Carlos Correa, ALCS MVP, now MVP again. Huge stage for him. Alvarez, by the way, is 2 for 19 in this series. In fact, Alvarez has really not been the same. Last year, yes, he was ALCS MVP, red hot on fire. He's not been the same really since those first couple games against Seattle, going all the way back. That was 3 weeks ago. Gurriel, we don't know if he'll play or not in Game 6. Alex Bregman, hitting 222 in the series. Did it a double last night. 3 doubles and home run. All of it's extra base hits. It's possible if he has a huge game, could be series MVP. Kyle Tucker, so hot in game 1. Since then, I guess just he hit those 2 home runs. He's gotten just 2 hits since then. Chad McCormick, 4 for 16, made that huge defensive play. So that's what's going on there. And then DH is kind of split between Diaz, Aledmys Diaz, 0 for 8, Mancini, or David Hensley, 2 for 7, Mancini 0 for 6. So it looks like Hensley's going to be the DH from now on, since he's the one that's performing by far the best out of all of them. So now we go to Philadelphia hitting. Rhys Hoskins, 3 for 21, did hit that home run. JT Realmuto, 3 for 21. I mean, hit that 11 strikeouts. I mean, Realmuto hit that big home run. I mean, think about Realmuto. Tied the game in game 1 against Verlander and hit that home run. Just 1 hit since then. So you factor in those 2 combined hits, just 1 hit other than that. So Realmuto really starting to cool off, is 3 for 21 in that series. And again, he could have looked like a candidate for series MVP. And that play at the wall made all the difference in the world. Castellanos, 3 for 20 in this series so far. Bohm, 5 for 18, okay. Segura, 3 for 18. Schwarber, 4 for 17. Does have 2 home runs, 2 RBIs. Harper, 4 for 16, home run, 2 RBIs, 4 walks. So again, he's getting on base. So Schwarber's walked 5 times, Harper 4 times. Stott, 0 for 13, but does have 4 walks in the series. So now you wonder what is next. So who would be series MVP for the Phillies? You know, it's so hard to say. I don't know. I don't know who series MVP is right now. Hitters, I'm not sure. I really don't know what hitter would be. Probably Harper or Schwarber if they have a big game 6 and 7. Those could be those 2 candidates right there, but we really don't know. It could really change. Now let's go to the pitching. So Verlander did manage to pitch a better game 5. Now again, I think the difference is he had his difficult innings. I'd say in game 2, he had 3 great innings, 2 bad innings. This game, he gave up just 1 run. But Verlander, I'd say he had 2 good innings and 3 okay innings, but he had to work hard, got into a lot of trouble. I mean, 6 walks in the series, 10 hits. So again, that's 16 base runners, a whip of 1.63. So again, almost 2 base runners per inning for Justin Verlander. Yet, he pitched not well enough in game 1, well enough in game 2, got the win. Framber Valdez, if he pitches a good game 6 tomorrow night and Houston wins, and he gets another win, and pitches 7 good innings, efficient, he could be series MVP. I think he's another candidate for series MVP. Christian Javier, part of that combined no-hitter. You know, you could consider him as well. You wonder if he could be potentially used at all in Game 7. Again, 3 days rest, especially the way McCullers struggled. That could be something to think about. Ryan Presley appeared in 4 different games. Just one save, again, part of that combined under. McCullers struggled, that's a concern. He would be in line to pitch Game 7. Obviously, on regular rest. Could they do a piggyback between him and Javier? I mean, that's the big concern, the struggles of McCullers. That worries me, so you wonder what the potential Game 7 strategy could be. I mean, you could do Valdez, McCullers, and Javier. Now, another thing is the bullpen is so good that everyone is good. Like, everyone in the bullpen is good, pretty much. Maybe you think about using Jose Urquidy. Maybe, you know what, you might consider using Luis Garcia as well in that game. Maybe you use multiple starters. I don't know. Maybe Javier and Garcia, or Garcia and Javier. That's something you could consider. Or maybe Urquidy in that situation. And just think about it. I've thought about this throughout the playoffs. Garcia and Urquidy. Philadelphia would have loved to have one of those in a Game 4. Like a night like last night, to be a reliable starter. They don't. Houston has 6 starters. Philly has 3, really. Brian Abreu's pitched a good series, 4 innings, 8 strikeouts. Montero's been used 4 times. Urquidy was used in just to get those last outs in game. Actually pitched 3 innings in that Game 3. Neris used just twice, 1 inning. And so that'll be interesting. By the way, Luis Garcia's not pitching game 1. So those kind of the Houston pitching right now. Valdez in line to clinch. So Philly, by the way, starting pitchers, Nola, rough series, 8 innings, 8 runs, 8 1/3, ERA almost 9. So almost a run per inning. He allows almost 2 base runners per inning with his start. So Nola, by the way, if there's anyone who you thought could be a good, reliable starter, it was Aaron Nola. And he's had really 3 rough postseason starts in a row since Nola, game 4, kind of had that, you know what, allowed 3 straight base runners. And then it was really Bregman and Alvarez got hit by that pitch and Bregman hit it the other way. So Nola, well, yeah, he came out of the game after getting into trouble. Nola has not been at his best in that series. Looks nowhere near the pitcher that he was, say, in St. Louis and against the Cardinals and against the Braves. Ranger Suarez had a good start, did what you needed out of him. Wheeler needs to be better in Game 6. Just had that rough start when he pitched 3 walks. And again, allowed almost 2 base runners per inning. Connor Brogdon's been a good, reliable bullpen weapon. 4 innings, 7 strikeouts. Eflin, pretty good. Alvarado, not quite as good as you'd think. And Robertson got that save in Game 1. So now, I think, again, Wheeler needs to be better in Game 6. Really needs to pitch a good Game 6 in order to save the season. Needs to be better. If Houston jumps out to the way they did against him in Game 6 like they did in Game 2, I think that's the series with Valdez on the mound. Really, really needs to be great. Since Valdez, I think, is going to be really good. I think Wheeler needs to be even better. Get that bullpen going in Game 7. I guess it would be Suarez in the bullpen. Something like that. So, this is it. I mean, this baseball season, you think about it. So, about 30 weeks ago was opening week, and the season had just started. And then it's been a long season, 162 games. The regular season ended about a month ago. Today's November 4th. Tomorrow will be November 5th. So I think that'll be the latest MLB ever ended with a potential Game 7 on November 6th. So it's been a long baseball season. It's been a good playoffs. And tomorrow night, the Houston Astros could be World Series champions. So this is Burke Lyle here with Atlanta and Around the Majors Baseball Show.